Hello, everybody. No intro tonight. So this is the new thing. If I do like an impromptu stream like that, I'll wait to have a sign of life in chat before I go live. Just so I don't feel like talking to myself too much. So thank you, SBD. You're the one that got the ball rolling. Yeah, look in the Discord. Yeah, because I was saying like if you ring the bell, you'll get those impromptu streams that I'm doing like that. I don't really have a topic for tonight. But I wanted to stream a bit because to give you an update about a few things, I guess, and to also, yeah, because I haven't streamed in a while. Let's be honest, I've been busy with other thing. I guess not really. So what happened with me? I just got a bit tired sometimes. Sometimes like I feel like I always come. I do those stream because I want to talk about something, right? Because I have like some information I want to pass on, or some topic I want to discuss, or something that I want to figure out, right? Like when I do like those Tear of Your Skin, oftentimes that's what it's about, right? It's about I'm trying to figure out something, and I bring in my friends, and then we discuss about stuff, right? Oh, hello, Angar. How you doing? Nice seeing you. And but now, like things are going well. We have a new campaign going on that we're supposed to play every week. We started a month ago. We've played once, so that's going great. Last week was a Canadian Thanksgiving, so that put a dent into that. We're gonna play tomorrow. Sci-fi campaign. I'm quite excited about this game tomorrow because, like last game, we left on quite cliffhanger, and I want to, I need some resolution about some stuff. So if you want to watch the game, if you're interested in that stuff, right? I think like it had been a while since we played, and I felt like we were a bit rusty. So we would talk a bit about each other. We might go do a tweaker at some point and look back at it and say, okay, what's happening here? Like why didn't we listen to each other yet? Right? That's a problem we struggle with in the past, and we were getting much better at it. But now coming back after a long absence, we went back a bit in the bad habits of stepping over each other, maybe talking too much sometimes, some of us. Not Phil, but the other player. And so that's what happening on the streaming side. I guess also, like I can tell you, like I've been on the Legend of Myth stream last Friday. Not this Friday, not the Friday that just passed, the one like from last week. So those video probably came out sometime this week, or they're gonna come up like next week. So you can watch that. The topic was about zero prep gaming, basically, which is something that I quite like. I think it's important. I think I'm quite fond of. So I went there and defend a bit like the idea of like GMing without prep, basically. Squad Brandon Lewis say, I'm so unfamiliar with your stash and shave look. It's actually disconcerting. Sometimes it came back. Like I don't always have a beard. Been a while, but Nicolas say you look even Frenchier now. Somehow. Yeah. It's good to have your face breed one. So I guess that's also an update. But and I'm used to it now because like it's been like 2 weeks, but since I haven't streamed since then, it is what it is, right? Something that happens. The beard is gonna come back at some point. I like to change my face once in a while. It's also good to go see if you're, not hiding too much under the beard, right? Sometimes we get fat, we grow a beard to hide like the double chin, stuff like that, or we get old, and it's good sometimes to go look under, see the, or go see what condition our condition is in, right? Other than that, I am still working on Bastard Sword. That's a big update because like that I've been very slow because I had to fix something that I wasn't satisfied with the way that the malus work. Um, and I came about with a fix that kind of worked, but I wasn't too happy with it. And that really slowed me down the progress in the writing because like when you're writing something, like yeah, it's functional, but it's not good. It's not like I'm not very excited about it. Like it's almost like you're you're pushing yourself to keep on writing, but I knew like I would need comeback, so I kept like thinking about trying to figure out a way to solve that. The problem is like I want people to be able to accumulate malices, some kind of penalty in the roll, right? Because the game is supposed to be like about the hardship of adventuring. It's not a game that's meant to feel heroic, and I want the player to be able to accept some malus too. So the penalty cannot be too harsh either, because otherwise people like just, oh, I got some malus, I'm not gonna even try, right? No, I want to say like, well, I got some malus, I got this thing, I'm over encumbered, overburdened, right? I'm still gonna try to do it because I don't want to drop my pack. I could drop my pack. I don't want to drop my pack, right? So those are kind of decision. Like it's all about like for me like decision in gaming, making choices, non-obvious choice that are mechanically significant. That for me is very important in gaming, right? In game design, and that was the thing that and malus for me is part of that, right? Just like you're carrying stuff, I want you to be overburden often, but you can drop your pack. But then if you have to run away, there's a risk, or somebody can take your pack and run away with it, right? And then like you kind of get screwed. So there's this non-obvious choice that is there, right? You can keep your pack on you and fight with your backpack, but then that can hinder you somehow. But it shouldn't hinder you so much that the choice becomes obvious. So you have to find that right balance. And I was struggling with that. And I also don't want it to be too much bean counting. But now what I'm going with, what I'm gonna go with for at the moment, and I'm gonna try again. We're gonna do this new game, and that's also like what at some point we did like a session zero for a game that never happened. That's part of the reason why, right? Because I wanted to make those change, and I wasn't happy with it. So the game kind of I've been put on ice until I could solve a few things, and now like I just need to do some more testing and like adjust a few things based on the new mechanic if I'm satisfied with it. And so far, I think it's gonna be pretty good. Now what's gonna happen when you get malus? You're gonna get malus dice added to your roll. It's a dice pool system where you look for success, and now those malus dice are gonna be D4s. So and they give you like negative success. So it's like on 3 or 4, you get -1 successes. And I really like that because it's kind of uncertain, right? Oh, you're carrying a heavy bag, right? A heavy backpack. Uh, it might hinder you, but you don't know, right? So I really like that for like I think it's thematically it's very nice because it's you try to do some things and I'm gonna be fine, right? It's probably not gonna bother me, and then like you get snagged a bit, or it bothered me more than I thought, right? So I think like for those kind of matters, I think that works very well. I think this uncertainty and is gonna encourage players to roll even though they're malus. And when we do the digital dice, like we often do when we play, is when we do the digital dice, like when we play, like because we program the dice, right, and they calculate the success automatically. That's gonna be transparent. If you play at the table with physical dice, there's also something very cool in the feeling. Like D4 are kind of sucky to roll, So now it's kind of like a punishment to have to add a bunch of D rolls. You're gonna roll like 48 and 2d4, right? You're gonna fill them like poking union. So I like this alignment. Like that's something I often talk about, like the alignment between like how it feel in your hand when you roll the dice and what's happening in the game, right? Yeah, like what Squash Bandit said there, like the fishing rod get caught on the cave ceiling. Exactly, that's kind of thing. Like it's hard to predict, right? If you're very over encumbered, it's probably gonna give you like some, but to what extent, right? Or stuff like if somebody like intimidate you, and then you get like malus from that, right? To what extent, right? So there's always like this thing that is a bit. Yeah, I think like thematically, I think in play, I believe this is gonna be very cool. And also, if you're at the table, like the big drawback is like you're gonna need like 2 type of D4 in case you roll with D4. Like usually, like, it's pretty rare that one of your attributes is gonna be like you're gonna roll with D4, because D4 is, you need to be very weak. Like if you have like because you always add 2 attribute together. So if you have 2 attribute at 2, then you're gonna roll a D4, but that's pretty low. And it should be unusual, let's say. But if in that case, either you would need like 2 different type of D4 that you can distinguish, or you make the roll in 2-step, which is not great, but it's not the worst thing in the world either. The good thing though is if you have a bunch of malus, you can actually use a D4 as counter, right? You just keep them next to you, and then you don't need to mark them on a separate piece of paper. And then when some malus are resolved, you just take it away, right? So I think that's going to work well in play. I'm excited to test that in an actual session. Oh, look at that! Got some company.
Sorry about that, Max. I was having some technical difficulties, but got it all figured out now. Yeah.
No problem. I'm glad you showed up. Were you listening? Did you hear what I was talking about?
I wasn't able to. No, sorry. What did I miss?
Oh. I was talking about some change in the Bastard Sword that I'm working on, and I was talking about like it's been slow because I was trying to solve the problem with the malus. I talk about it a bit sometime in the forum, and I had something that was kind of okay, but I wasn't happy with it. So the progress was slow because I was kind of like going, kind of like what's the expression that you say when you kind of pushing like you were, you're almost like you force yourself to do something that you don't really want to do, right?
Oh, okay, got it. Yeah.
Reluctantly, yeah. So I was reluctantly trying to progress with something that I wasn't very satisfied with.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, that's the word, right? That's
yeah, I think so. Yeah. Reluctantly,
yeah,
I think so.
But now, like and I talked about it a bit about Phil the other night, like, and I think it's gonna be very cool in play. Like, we're gonna do like the malus, add D4 that give you negative malus. So on 3 or 4.
Okay.
So the idea was to because, like I said, I want the player to be able to accept some malus, and I really like the idea. Like remember, like when you were like trying to draw that bow, right? And there's a mechanic that you can, like, on your turn, you can decide, well, I'm gonna get ready to shoot this guy, and then there's a malus based on how much you waited with the bow, right? Because that's how it'd be, like, you get tired.
Yes.
And now, like, so if you get like 3 malus from that, then you would add 3d4 to your roll, and those d4, the success you get on those, they're subtracted from the result, right? So in Sophie's dice, I could make like a different type of d4 with a different color scheme, and then it would all be accumulated automatically. But I like this idea that, like, this uncertainty, right? Just like, I think it's gonna encourage players to sometime accept some malus.
Nice.
Instead of always trying to avoid them, because that's something I want in that game, right? I want.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm excited again to work on that. I've been working on I've been doing some tests here and there. I've been like trying to work on the wording. An idea can be good, but you have to find a good way to express it as well.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So that's what I've been working on.
Right on.
Yeah,
that's great.
And I was just giving an update of where I've been.
So
But
where
you
have
know
you
that
been, Max? Yeah.
I went to the LUM show, but other than that, I just didn't feel like streaming lately.
No.
Yeah.
We've had a bit of a dry spell. Many of
Well,
us have dried up a little bit on content. My next thing, which is probably not polite to bring up here, but my next thing is I'm going to start interviewing players from my in-person game and getting their feedback on this renewed focus on role playing.
Yeah, that's gonna be cool because you had this change somewhat recently.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I've got one player in particular that's really, he's caught the bug of this co-creation. He's really into it now. And I've talked to him about coming on so I can interview him, and he's willing to do that. Another one who's struggling that's willing to be interviewed. And then an older guy that we introduced to the hobby as a new entrant. He's since moved away, but I've been in touch with him and he's willing to come on. So I'll be doing doing these conversations with current and previous players. Just
and you saw, so when he moved away, I believe you said like that he looked for a group in his new place.
Yes. So I want to get an update on that and how that's going.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, it should be okay.
Yeah,
it might be interesting to some people out there. So, and then of course we've got our game tomorrow, so excited for that.
I talk about it as well, right? Yeah. And if people in chat now watching, right, we have a few people watching. If you have like some question, like now would be the right time to ask them as well, right? Because
sure,
like I said, it's like a kind of a potpourri kind of thing. And I talk about like how we in the last game, I felt like we stepped on each other a bit.
A little bit, yeah,
a little bit. That's something like we were getting better at, but we had a bit of like a step back a fight. But you know, I'm a harsh critic of ourselves.
I watched the game again. I'm going to watch it if I have time. I'm going to try to get most of it in tomorrow as well. And I have to say, I thought in general the reactions were really good. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But in general, I was pretty happy with it.
Yeah, I'm quite excited. Like because we're left with this big tension, big cliffhanger. I'm quite excited to go back to it.
Yeah, I want to see what happens with that and the missing ship and all of that good stuff.
Yeah. Squad Benjalif was saying earlier, not to derail, but that's part of why I like Pathfinder 2 over D&D 5e. 14. I don't know. Oh, the 14, I guess, is probably like 2014 when the 5e was released. I want there to be some wrestling with the situation to allow for meaningful decision. Yeah. I never read Pathfinder 2e, so I'm not familiar really. But
I haven't picked that one up.
That's
I looked at it, but
yeah. You know, because that's what I was telling you as well. Like I was saying, I want people to have like for me, like a big part of a role-playing game is that you have meaningful decision to make that are mechanically important, right? Otherwise, I just so that's you know, and that's part of the reason why I like this Easy D6 so much with the karma and stuff like that, because then you got a meaningful decision to make at every roll.
That's true.
And I think that's great. Otherwise, like especially otherwise, like if you just like roll the dice, oh, this happened, or roll your dice, and you don't have any way to influence that in some way. Like sometimes you always feel like a bit of a human dice roller, especially if the GM railroad you a bit, right? Then well, why bother at that point?
Yeah, I know. I know.
Yeah. And he also said, I guess, BD, Sir Max vanished into the wood only to re-emerge weeks later covered in bear pelt and somehow heavier than he left. Yeah. His voice sounded like he hadn't been used in a year. That happened to me sometime. No, like not so much because I go walk with the dog in the town, and there's always like people that stop me to talk.
Nice.
Yeah. So, you have anything that you want to talk about? Any topics you want to cover?
No, I think I said my piece. I was just going to talk about these interviews I have coming up. I had some questions on the Discord about from some of our regular watchers asking about the whether or not the theft of the ship was predetermined, and if there was anything that the players could have done to prevent that outcome. And my answer is that I had started with the last session. I started with the obstacle is that there's this con man that's trying to get the ship, and unless the players confront that, then that could very well happen. But there was I did try to leave. I did try to give some indication that the ship was getting a lot of attention,
Mhm.
and and then it was up to you guys to decide if you wanted to bite on that hook or not, and then things happen.
I would
So
decide not to, but like, and in like, I didn't pick up on it too much while we're playing, but on retrospect, I say, yeah, okay, you did like kind of telegraphed it a bit.
I
So
did a little bit. Yeah.
yeah, so it's not unfair, right? It's like in telegraphing, unless like in a fight where it's a
Hmm.
bad thing.
Hmm.
In role playing game or in gaming, you do want to telegraph because
Hmm.
otherwise it can feel unfair, right?
Yeah, you don't want to feel like you're in a capricious game where
Yeah, and you did, right?
it's all scripted, and we don't want to have that.
Or just like, well, that came from nowhere,
Just out
right?
of the blue. Oh, yeah, like
Yeah.
rocks fall, everyone dies, that kind of
That
thing.
okay, that's a good topic we can talk about a bit. Like,
Yeah.
fairness in role playing, right?
Hmm.
And that's like an event like that, where we lose the ship,
Hmm.
or if you die sometime because in the end, like, it can be frustrating
Sure it can.
sometimes. But
Yeah.
if it's gonna be like, if at least you can look at it and then you think about it and say, yeah, you know what, there was fucking end,
Hmm.
and I didn't pick up on them, but now I feel like what happened, it's kind of like I'm kind of responsible, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
It give the player like ownership, and it's the same thing when you die, right? If you
Hmm.
I talk about that sometime. If you just like step off your house and of your apartment in the game, right?
Hmm.
And then the GM say, "Oh, roll a d20," and then you roll a two, and it's, "Oh, a bus pass," and you die, right? Just like, that's a shit death. That's the
Yeah,
kind that's
that's
not what kind of death you want in the game,
yeah.
because it came from nowhere.
Hmm.
It was unavoidable,
Hmm. Hmm.
and it's just based on randomness, right?
It's
So
too random. Yeah,
yeah,
it's just
so
a
you had no control over it.
no control whatsoever. Just
Yeah,
yeah, thing random stuff should happen,
yeah.
and I don't mind the fact that sometimes your car gets stolen. Like it's just in real life. It's you left it where you always leave it, and it's just unlucky. It's okay to have unlucky things happen,
Mhm.
but within reason. Because if there's too much of that, then you think, well, again,
I'm
I'm just
cursed.
I'm a passenger
Yeah,
along for the ride. Just tell me what happens to my character next, Mr. GM,
yeah.
and we don't want that.
Yeah, and like, you express in that game, you express many times, that like people were shady. There was a lot of interest in the ship and stuff like that. Like,
Mhm.
we could have picked up on that and said, "Oh, maybe we should go back to the ship. Maybe we should keep go." But we didn't want to do that.
Right.
And I guess it fit with the character too, because like our characters seem to be like somewhat irresponsible.
Yes. Very much. Back Phil's character, the functional alcoholic.
Yeah,
Yeah, there is definitely some of that going on. So,
yeah. So, so I think, but that's a good thing, right? Just like,
mhm.
always, if you want to, like, I think it's important that death is on the table,
Oh, always. Yeah.
but always leave the player on out.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that came up saying the first roll in our last game session was your check for a dangerous unpowered atmospheric reentry, and you
Yeah,
rolled a 1 on your piloting check, and that should be a bad thing in
yeah,
our hacked version of Easy D6. But I was also thinking, you know, it seems it seems like robbing these characters of their opportunity to make some important decisions if I just have you burn up on reentry right here. Like it doesn't, yeah, there should be a consequence and it should be a bad thing. And it was directly the result of a decision that you had made or your
yeah,
character had made.
yeah.
But it would be a little heavy handed, in my opinion, to say, oh, you rolled 1 on your first piloting check. Yeah, it's a uncontrolled descent into the ground.
You
Everyone
all
start
die.
again. Yeah, like,
Exactly.
come on, guys.
Yeah. You could have you could have been like, oh, the ship crash
Sure.
and we survive. Like maybe we have like this heroic save kind of thing,
Yeah.
stuff like that. Maybe could have been something like that, or just something breaking the ship, and then like we'll
Something
need to spend
serious
money.
breaks.
We need to
Sure.
spend like money to get it fixed, right?
Mhm.
But yeah, it was a fucking first roll.
It was the very first roll, and then you had
Send it.
the heroic die moment, and
Yeah,
you rolled a 1 again. I having watched that again, I thought there should have been the bar fight should have happened right there. Like,
yeah.
that would have been the right location for that, I think. But it was okay. It was funny to watch what Phil did next. I enjoyed it. Like I
Yeah.
said, my wife watched it and she said she just laughed through the whole thing. She thought it was the most hilarious session that we've done so far, even
All
funnier than the Wendy's one.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
we wanted to do something with a bit of a lighter tone for a start, right? I don't know why.
yeah,
What's the
yeah.
right tone thing?
I think so. I think it
Yeah.
works.
Like I was chatting with Phil the other night, and we're trying. Like I didn't want to talk too much about the game
Mhm.
because like we're like like we're thinking like, oh, what we gonna do next now? Like, and say like, well, let's fucking solve that in role play.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
exactly.
this is gonna
Yeah,
be like some juicy moment now. Like we're
sure
in
it is.
the shitter like that, and right, just like, and I want it I want it to be role played. I don't just want to be like discussed off the
Right,
table, right?
right,
That's a
right.
mistake of oftentimes. Like people like like I don't like off table play. I know some
Yes.
people say like the always on campaign and stuff like that. That's something I don't like.
Yeah.
But yeah, let me say hello to people like, yeah, Janet that shows up. Hello, and Nerdy Ogre now. Hello.
Hi, Nerdy Ogre. How are you?
Yeah.
And hi,
Hope you're
Janet.
doing
Oh,
fine.
she was on before I think came on. She's probably takes one look at this guy and I'm out. So I agree with you. I was thinking about this. I thought, it'd be kind of nice in a sense, it'd be nice to have things continue in a real time, but you don't have time. I don't have time to do the play by post resolutions of everything that's happening in the meantime. I'd rather just pick up where we left off. So that's just me. It's not wrong to do it the
Well,
other way, obviously, but
yeah, like that for me, it's part of that. Like I want to be able like to pick up where we left off, but it's also like when there's something juicy happening, I don't want it to be happen. I don't want it to
yeah,
happen off screen, right?
right.
I want to role play it. And another thing, right? Just like even like when we talk about domain plane stuff like that, I say, you don't just say, oh, I'm gonna make a deal with this guy and then just extend some text. No, I want you to fucking like go talk to him
Mhm.
and you know and make the deal and try to offer something, and then maybe you have to prove yourself in some way, right?
Sure,
I
sure.
want it to be involved. I want to be like,
So what's the thought? Well, like, what's your opinion on cliffhangers? Uh, I tend to use them in games. In most of the games that we've had, there's been a cliffhanger. Is that good form? Is that too
um
cliche? What do you
no,
think?
I'm okay with them. I don't necessarily want them every session because sometimes it's good to have resolution.
Sure.
But like I'm not opposed to them, right? Something like I said, it leave us with a lot of sometime in role playing game, it can be a bit touchy because
Yes, it can.
if you have a ramp up, an emotional ramp up of something happening,
Mhm.
and then you cut the session, and then you come in the new session at in the same spot, right? You're not
Yeah,
gonna have the same emotional intensity.
that's right.
And when you
That's right.
start the session, sometimes it takes you like a few minutes to get in, right? To get in the skin of the
Yes.
character and stuff like that. So you might miss something juicy there.
Mhm.
So
That's a good point.
that's something like I would say I would like in movie it doesn't matter,
No.
but in a role playing game session, because we're trying to align our emotion with the emotional character, right?
Mhm.
You might be wasting some potential there.
Yes. Yes. You
So
can't keep it at an ever increasing, you know, it's even more now and more the next time and more the next time, and it becomes a bit of a
yeah,
clown.
but it's
You
also like
lose the believability of it. But I like the cliche.
now with two
Yeah.
weeks in between, right?
Yes.
When I
Yeah.
come next time, resolving like reacting to this severe news, right? It's very like bad news that like, oh, we lost their ship, right? Just like coming to react to that, I might react differently than I did in the moment.
Right.
I'm not in the same fire right now, and it's like,
Yeah, that's very true. That's
yeah.
very true.
So there's
That's very true.
something.
But you had mentioned something earlier that you don't like to tend to spend too much time plotting in between sessions, so that when you come in, you already have like, okay, guys, I figured it out. Here's what we're gonna do.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
You
I
you
try
just
to
came
resist
out
that.
like we're picking up with you going outside and seeing the place where the ship used to be, and we're right then. Like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the genesis of your plan hasn't happened yet. It's right
It's
there.
hard sometimes to completely avoid thinking about it and stuff like
Sure,
that, right? You're
sure.
left with an impression, but yeah. So that would be like my thing with the cliffhanger. I'm not opposed to them, but if I think about it, I say there might be something there that you might rob yourself or something sometime.
Yeah, sometimes. Yep, I think
Mm.
so.
So then it's always like you gain something because like people want to come back to resolve that.
Mhm.
It's a trade-off, right?
It is. It's straight off.
It's always is, right?
It's the same thing with what I'm trying out with this ongoing campaign, where I'm I'm really pushing. I'm trying to push my comfort level a little bit beyond what I would normally do by having more connections than less connections between the NPCs of the world. So, and where I'm getting that from is I'm borrowing that, Max, a little bit from the Twin Peaks
Yeah,
kind
the soap
of
opera kind of.
Black Lodge Games
Yeah,
comments about soap operas, and it is kind of fun to do that because but at the same time it can seem a little like, oh, so you're related to this person who just happens to be related to this person. It can feel a little, but then again, it seems to work. It works in my in-person game when I do it,
yeah.
and then yeah,
It does it works in small world as well, right? So
it
small
does.
town, small like
Sure.
planet with not many people in there, right? Because everybody's gonna know it. Like it's like that in the village here, right? I'm an outsider. When I
Hmm.
go to the bar, right? It's everybody fucking knows each other and they're all like fucking cousin and shit like that.
Hmm.
And I mean that also in both sense.
Hmm.
When I say they're fucking cousin.
Yeah, that's, well, small town. I know.
Yeah.
I live in a small town too.
So you got that. Like if you but and that works and it does create
Mhm.
something interesting in that sense.
Sure, it does.
Uh if you even if you go like in when I used to live to Montreal,
Hmm.
we had this very like much neighborhood
Hmm.
life, which we
Yeah.
all know each other as well. We all interact with each other. Or if you're in the organized crime, if you know
Yes.
somebody that did that,
Then you have a
it's
group
also like a
and a
very much small
clubhouse,
world.
and
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So I guess that works in many contexts.
sure it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure it does.
But you also have sometimes you might want to, there's also some value in the anonymity of the big, like when
Yeah,
you're in the big city, you're a stranger and whatever you do, nobody cares because you're never gonna see them again, right?
sure. It's a bit of a blank slate. You
Yeah.
can
It's
decide at
always a
that
matter of
point.
vibe.
Yeah,
It's depending on the vibe you wanna give, right?
yeah, that's true.
It's all tools. It's all different tools that we have for different situation, for different vibe, for different thing, right? You have
Yes,
to know when to use them, right? You cannot like, you know, don't just have a hammer and treat everything like a nail, right?
that's true. That's
Yeah.
true.
So
And it's good to have different locations too. I find like it's good to not you're not doing the same thing every time, but there's also something new. Like it's a new location. It's a new that new environment. I think is really important, and having something that you can riff off the players as they decide to leave the invisible walls and go somewhere else. Like that's great. So anyway, it's,
yeah,
I'm looking forward to it. I'm hopeful that it'll be a solid session
yeah.
tomorrow. And
It's also
yeah.
something with long with when you want to do when you want to do longer campaign, right? It's something we haven't do much. Oh, Phil, you want to join us?
Oh, there's Mr. Phil. Right
Yeah,
on.
come on in, join Phil. And Nerdy Ogre said there's nothing wrong using cliche. Actually, like I think cliche can be like very very useful tools.
I consider them more as what would be the best way? What's that called? They're called heuristics. So it's a shortcut. It's a mental shortcut. Like we call them cliches. Oh, he
Yeah.
has to do school. So we call them cliches, but in the game, they work better if we understand them or we frame them as this is a shortcut that you can use to communicate a lot of information in a very short period of time. So here's an example. We're playing this space western.
Yeah.
We're in the saloon. Guy walks in. He's got a metal badge on his chest. He a bit of a swagger. He walks in. You just the little bit of the cliche sheriff, and you're like, okay, I know I can assume certain things already. I have some shortcuts I can
Yep.
use because of the cliche. The bad guys wear black, the good guys wear white, until
Right.
they don't, and you can play off that too, which is fun. But I do like using them because you don't have to. Then you don't have to describe everything.
Yep.
Actually, this is the lawman, and
Yeah.
the lawman isn't like no, just cliche. He's the sheriff. Okay, good,
Yeah.
done.
And I letting people make assumption, letting player make assumption, like because you don't
Mhm,
want to reinvent everything is so important. Like because like
mhm,
people like some people I often like rate against world builder, right?
mhm,
Because I think like your world is not that cool, and it
mhm.
like what you bring that is new and so unique as nobody care, right? And it
No,
doesn't like what do we care about is character and character
that's
interaction.
right. That's right.
So all doing this. Oh, actually, in this world, people use platypus as pet. It's like
Mhm. Who cares?
who cares exactly?
Who
Like, what
ca-
does it change? Like, it's gonna serve
you
the
can,
same fucking function that than if they had cat, right?
yeah,
So who cares?
yeah. You
Or
can
are
you
people
can just
gonna
say it in the scene, like
yeah
in the if I describe in the saloon, there's a excessively corpulent man in a three-piece suit lounging back on a chair, and on his lap that he's petting is a lizard.
yeah
That's all. Okay, good enough, right? Everyone's picturing Boss Hog, from the Dukes of Hazzard, and he's got some lizard on his lap, and he's petting it. Good enough. I mean, you can already kind of picture. Okay, so this is the guy that he's the
yep
wealthy dude. He pulls the strings. He's got everyone in his pocket, and it's just all cliche, but it's okay. It works. You don't have to
yep
go in and say, "Well, this guy, I hate this.
yeah
That so and so is the main person at the." Just communicate in the role play. Just communicate it by how he talks to the others, how
yeah
he addresses the party. Like,
yeah
don't you know who I am? Like, you must be
yeah
new around here.
yeah exactly. Or like the waitress say, "Oh, you're out toner. Like don't like give you a
Oh,
hint.
and,
Don't
and
fuck with that
Phil
guy."
did that great because I was waxing poetic on purpose from the waitress, having her just become suddenly loquacious, like she's going to just dump everything she knows, and then Phil does this big thing where he was yawning, and so then I take that as an in-game thing. Why wouldn't I take that as an in-game communication that Phil is through his character is telling me that he's bored,
Yeah
the character's bored. So then I respond to that instead of just doing this out of character exposition dump. Boring. Well, the casino is this, and it's on the Oasis, and that's this. And actually, that no, none of that.
hmm. Yeah. And flow is so much more important
Hmm.
than like those little like originality of the world, right? So
Hmm.
preserving the flow, letting the player make assumption is preserving it allows to preserve the flow
Totally.
of the game, the rhythm, right? Like you know, we're not really like one time in the sense that it's not like 1 minute of role playing equate 1 minute in real time, equate 1 minute in the world, right? It's like there's not this clear because sometimes we speed up, sometimes we slow down, right? Just like
Sure. Sure.
and I have no problem with that. I think that's fine.
Hmm.
But you see some games, right? Just like they're gonna spend like a 4 hour session, and like 30 minutes in world time would have passed, right?
Yes.
Because it's always interruption about like explaining lore dump, out of character planning, stuff like that. So, like,
Or forbid there's a door. I was watching some of Shauner's old videos because I like to have him on in the background. And he was critiquing some game session, and they spent 15 minutes
Yeah.
in front of a door just trying to figure out what to do with the door.
Yeah.
And he
So
made
often
this
say, like,
the game
like,
is all just about doors. Is that
yeah.
what
That's the RPG. That's what I often say. Like, RPG is all about opening door to
it's
get
all
to the
about
next
opening
door.
doors? It's the door.
It's
Oh
whatever
no, the
challenge
door.
you meet there to get so you can get to the next door, and then you open that door. That's
And
the sense of
it's
a
funny because those that the not many people criticize us, but the few criticisms that we've seen are like, well, how else would I know if the door is locked? I'm like, well, okay, let's just play a hypothetical here.
Yeah.
You yourself, not in a game, you yourself are walking up to a building. How do you know if the door is locked? You can't just ask the sky.
Yep.
What would you
Well,
do?
you can, but doesn't
It
achieve
doesn't
much.
do anything. I don't think he's answering that. Okay.
You walk
His
to the
answer would
door and you
be
try to
go
open
check
it.
the doorknob, idiot. I
Yeah.
gave you legs and a hand.
Yeah.
And so really in the game, you should probably do the same thing instead
Yeah.
of just asking, do I know if the door is locked? I don't know. Do you? Like what do
Yeah.
you? So yeah, doors.
Yeah.
But that's a good
Oh,
example of what you were saying. Like
this key I
sometimes some
found,
things that should be really quick end up being way too long, and things that
even like
should take
something
time
like
are too quick.
even something like this key I found. Does it open the door? Why do you say, like, just say like, oh, I take the key I found and I try it on the door. There you go.
Yeah.
I'll tell you if
Yeah,
it's open or not.
there's an inscription on the key saying, "This
Yeah.
is not the door you're looking for." Like, come on, just try it. How else would you know? If you
Try
found
it.
a key on the street, how would you know what door it went to? You'd
Yeah.
try. Maybe.
Yeah.
There's a serial number on it. You could look it up. I don't know. It's a certain type of key. Go to a locksmith. Maybe they'll be able to tell you.
Or just try it out. Try it.
Or just try it.
Put it on the lock and yeah.
It says no, not this door, idiot.
Hello, Dubon. Yeah, I was trying something different.
I like the mustache. You look like a pilot.
Like a what?
Like a pilot.
Oh, like,
Pilot.
yeah, like a airplane or NASCAR pilot.
Yeah, airplane.
Yeah. One day I'll go take my license, my pilot's license.
Yeah, go do it.
Well, I don't know if I can. I don't have that good vision.
Oh, you just have to correct it to 2020. That's all.
Ugh. But it's the one I miss. I got my driver license, my motorcycle license, my skipper license.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, but I don't have the pilot. I guess
Not
the
the
next one. It's the next logical step.
It's the next one. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Planes, trains, and automobiles. That's the whole thing.
Oh yeah. I don't know what kind of license you need to be a train engineer.
Yeah, to be a conductor or an engineer.
Yeah. Oh, Dave the GM. Say, how is it going? I decided to pop in for a bit, even though my RPG pursuits are on hold, to revisit my childhood dream of writing a book.
Hey, good for you.
Good for you, and I appreciate not mixing both.
Yeah, and don't mix the two. That's right. Never the two shall meet.
Yeah, they're two good hobbies, but they should be kept apart.
Keep them apart.
So many GM want to write a book and read it to the GM.
Hey, I mean, yeah, exactly. Take inspiration, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. I'm always taking inspiration, but yeah, don't just tell a story to your players. Not that way. Give them the book and make them pay for it.
Write the book and give them, and you can like romance what happened in the game afterward. That's fine, right? Just like cleaning it up a bit. Now is the time to fix some stuff, right? Just like adjust a bit the facts. But don't do it the other way around. Don't write a book and then run your player through it.
No.
Yeah.
No. That's not even a choose your own adventure at that point. But hey, good on you and good luck on your book. I'm sure that's an ambition that I have too. At some point, I'd like to write a book, but
yeah, I like that too.
No,
but I want to finish Bastard Sword first.
Yes,
I need to resist going in too much. I get distracted a lot, right? Just like I like I like being physically active too.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, it's important.
yeah,
It's important.
yeah, but sometimes I push a bit too much.
Yeah. Well, it's easy to do.
Yeah, especially now I'm getting old. I need more rest. I need to accept to rest more.
Yeah.
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 But so what else do we need? Like, okay, flow,
Mm-hmm.
very
Yeah. Don't
important.
be so married to your own setting. Like
Yeah,
it's it's not really. I mean, you get the privilege and the responsibility to get the ball moving,
yeah,
the initial obstacle, and from there on, don't hold on to something so tightly. It will actually do better if you let go a little bit and
yeah. Let it breathe.
let it breathe.
And and don't, like, what one thing I often say too, like, don't make the character the audience, right? They're not there to be your
No.
audience, and that
Yeah.
goes with the writing the book as well, right? Just like when
Yeah.
people, like, I'm not accusing David the GM here of doing that, obviously,
No, no. Of course we
but
don't
I'm
know
I'm
that.
saying that's something we see a lot, right? And that's, I guess, also, like, it's also valid for people writing book. I gotta say,
Hmm.
if people
Hmm.
don't know, I studied in literature, so that's kind of something that
Hmm.
I care for as well. And that's something we see a lot in bad literature or bad fantasy movie or sci-fi movie.
Hmm.
People want to, like, the world builders, right?
Hmm.
They create a world, and then they use the character to expose you the world, right? The character become a vehicle
Right.
to show off the world that they created, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess that's a bit what Tolkien did,
A little bit. He was
but
testing to see if he could create a mythology.
yeah,
And
but
yeah,
at least, like, the when you read the story are about the character, right? That's what
they
you want
very
to.
much are.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's what you want, right? Just like
Yeah.
the world is there for the character to have a place to exist in,
Hmm.
and it roots the character in something that's important. But the writing or the game shouldn't be about the world. It's about the character. That's what we
Yes.
care about, right? As human, like, that's
Yep.
oftentimes what I rail against the nerds, right? It's just like nerds care
Hmm.
about, like, facts and detail, and they want to know, like, the thing, right? Just all
Yeah.
this little detail here and there. And it's like, well, just a human being don't care about that
Yeah,
so much.
exactly.
We
I
care.
relate to that. I relate. I'm a sci-fi fan,
Yeah,
but I when you say that, I think of those Star Trek fans that care more about the
yeah,
make believe technical manual for the ship
yeah,
than the characters that are on the ship.
yeah, exactly.
And to me, that's kind of missing the point. I don't think that's what Roddenberry was after
Yeah,
when he made the story. He wasn't super keen on. I mean, I'm sure he would have appreciated that nerds went out and did detailed blueprints of a warp nacelle, but in the end, it's not as germane as what the nerds may think out there. Like, I think it's more important with the human aspect of it.
yeah. Like, oh, it doesn't matter. Oh, they went to, oh, now, like, the door got the wrong bridge number, like, on the
Yeah.
right. It's like, who the fuck care, right? Like,
It's not the right emblem on their jackets.
yeah,
They have a separate one for each ship.
yeah.
Oh,
Like, that's
do,
not
do
that's
we care?
yeah. But some people, like, and they all, like, fucking actually kind of, like, fucking, actually this, you know,
Yeah.
and the same
Yeah.
thing, right? Like, with like, fighting nerds, right? They're the same, right?
Hmm.
You look at fight oh, that fight doesn't make sense, like that. Like, you're watching a movie. It's not
Hmm.
there to show you, to teach you how to fight. It's there to tell a story, right? It's about the drama, it's about the tension and
Exactly.
stuff like that, right? You
Yeah.
need people that are not used to fight, need to understand, like, oh, this guy is rash, or this guy is confident, or this guy is much more powerful, or this guy, like, this guy is the underdog, right? So you kind of have to make it, like, like I was starting in a fight, you don't want to telegraph your move and stuff like that. But in a movie fight, you want, in a video
Hmm.
game fight, you want the enemy to have, like, his move telegraphed,
Hmm.
because you need that, right? So there's different need, and people have to understand that you need to not let that spoil your your fun, right? The same thing with,
Yeah.
like, Like, I'm a bit of an history nerd. I want to like,
Mm.
and that's hard for me when I watch like historical movie
Mhm.
when they get like too many stuff wrong. But
Oh,
I have
sure.
to
I
tolerate
agree. Yep.
some of it, right?
Yep.
Because it's not the point, right? It's not like
That's
a
right.
yeah,
You're like, well,
yeah,
actually, that
yeah,
wasn't what happened there. Like, oh, okay. They take
yeah,
some creative liberty. But I think it's important to have that creative liberty, like you say, because I want my players to feel like it's it's okay for them to say something that they imagine as being, wouldn't it be awesome if my character did this and he should be able to do this, instead of trying to think of all of the perfectly realistic things that could or should happen there according to their own abilities, not according to the character's abilities. So, and where we've had our best successes is where players have taken those chances, and we just went with it, and then the dice decide if it's a success or a failure, and then we go with that too. And
yeah,
that creative license is important. I think it has a big part to play.
yeah. And you have to like you have to remember like you want the player to be able like to unless you're doing like a isekai kind of stuff, which I don't
Mhm.
tend to like, right? The people like are just like, oh, I've been teleported to this world I know nothing about, right? Just like then that's a different. I guess if you do that,
Sure.
no, you can justify like having like, but you don't want to do the lore dump. Like
Right.
the lore dump will be need to be done by a character or by
Right.
the world, right? Stuff like that.
Right.
Because the player would just not get like this information. But the problem is like the character lived in that world and they should know something about that world, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So either you let the player like fill in the blank and you
Mhm.
run with it,
Yep.
or you always have to stop the game and do the lore dump and break the flow.
Yep.
Mm,
Better to stay with the flow, like you said. Flow is
yeah,
important.
yeah. Phil say I'm a nerd that enjoy this hobby for jokes you guys have going on. Exactly, it's RPG for jocks.
That's right. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
yeah.
Get with the
You're
program. Phil.
Phil, you're a well-adjusted human being, right?
Yes,
So
you
you're
are.
not like yeah, you don't
It's
have
a
like this
Renaissance
gross
man,
nerd.
our Phil.
You don't have this
Absolutely.
gross nerd habits. Yeah,
No, 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 not at all.
yeah. And I do have that as well. Like I like stuff I like. I like to dig in the detail and stuff like that. It's just like being able to
Mhm.
compartmentalize
Yeah.
that.
I was just reading his
Yeah, you just
next
have to be
comment.
able to compartmentalize.
Compartmentalize. Yes. Yeah.
I'm adding one syllable too much. Eh?
I think so. It's
Yes,
compartmentalize. Yeah.
compartmentalize. All
Yeah.
right, I knew something was wrong. I don't know why I'm losing my English. I've been too long since I
Oh, no, not at all.
compartment
It's way better than my French.
compartmentalize. And that when you're playing again, that's what you're doing now. Like it's not the time to you're not trying to you don't try to fucking impress also like the other player at the table about how smart and how well you know the setting, right?
Mhm.
Nobody's impressed by that anyway.
No one's impressed. No one is impressed.
Yeah. Bill and Max Max and I are about to tell a compelling story tomorrow about a couple of guys running a sandwich shop.
Yes, you are. And it'll be the
Exactly.
most compelling Subway sandwich shop ever in space. So,
Eh,
it'll be great. Epic.
we'll see how it goes.
It'll be fantastic. I'm excited for it. No matter what. I'm
Yeah.
excited.
It's great to be able to you know, it can go in totally different direction. It can go like the sandwich shop. It can go the blaze of glory.
Yeah. It could.
Everybody die.
It could. Absolutely. And
But
maybe it will. We'll see.
being able like to just say that, you know what, whatever happened, I'm sure it's gonna be fun, right?
It'll
I'm
be
sure it's gonna
fun.
be great. It's gonna be
Yeah.
like where you can be immersed, gonna be in character and stuff like that. It's
Absolutely.
gonna feel random.
Yeah.
So I think that's really something that I appreciate with this group that we have going now, right?
I'm just saying, Crispy, keep that time skip in your pocket. Yeah, are you forcing me to prep, Bill? Are you trying to get me to prep? I'm not prepping, sir. I'm not prepping. I did enough prep at our first session for at least a couple sessions, maybe 3.
Oh yeah.
And it was all it was. So anyone who's watched the game wondered what was the prep? The prep was just getting a whole bunch of pictures of men and women and locations um, and I may never even use them. I like to start off with new secrets each time. So we'll see if they come up. If they don't come up, I'm not married to it. It's totally fine. So the sandwich shop montage,
Yeah.
absolutely.
The
So cool.
montage is when we if we do what do we say, when we do like 2 round that we just anchor ourselves doing mundane stuff,
Mhm.
then that's a sign that okay, we don't have anything going on for the moment, so we can skip to the next interesting event. Yeah,
Exactly.
that's how we trigger
Exactly.
that's why we trigger the montage.
Yep.
When we go like 2 round
Mhm.
with everybody just doing anchoring statement.
Mhm.
All right, this scene is done. There's no
Skip
more juice to be squeezed.
off to the next thing. Yep.
Yeah, we montage right.
Mhm.
Or we said it in the montage. In the montage, we want to if we do the montage,
It's more
we
it's
also
more
want
of
to
a
go.
fast, like, so
Yeah,
each
that'll be
turn now is a day or a week or,
yeah,
you know, which is
yeah.
fine. You can do that. Our first month, we got a special, the 2 mundane rule. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, the two
Yeah.
mundane. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the two mundane. But yeah, I guess in the montage that's what we said as well, right? You go around and
It's what you do in the first month, and the
yeah,
second month, and the third month, and then
yeah.
by then there should be an obstacle. There should be conflict at some point.
And when you do your anchoring move, your anchoring statement, make it sound like routine, something unusual. Like it's not something, it's something that, well, again, I wake up and I sharpen my knife and put my
Mhm.
apron on.
Yep. Yeah, I signed the delivery thing. We got the fresh lizard meat coming in, cold cuts.
Yeah.
I paid the delivery driver for the month's worth of shipments.
In the evening, I'm
You know?
working the books,
Yep, exactly. It's kind of
tidying
mundane
yeah,
until then, and that's a good signal for the game master to, like, okay, conflict is needed. So some obstacle is needed here
mm,
because yeah, something's got to upset the, just like in real life, things don't stay on that kind of even keel for long before something upsets it.
well, it's
There's
also like there's no story if there's no conflict, right?
You
Just
got to
like
have conflict. Yeah.
yeah, I'm sorry to say, but just going to your 9 to 5 job every day for the year, that's not a
As a
story.
wage slave. Yeah. No
Yeah,
thanks.
exactly. That's
Yeah.
not a story. The
No.
story is when thing goes awry
Yeah. Like
or when
when all of a sudden your boss is a werewolf and what
yeah,
happened there? Like there's something, or the place burns down. You go one day and it's just a smoldering ruin.
yeah.
Um,
Help, my boss is a werewolf.
yeah.
Sounds like that.
Dear
Yeah.
Abby, my boss is a werewolf. I think he ate the secretary. I don't know.
Yeah. It's like very literal, like not
Yeah.
like not figurative at all. It's just like
Not figured at all.
sometimes
No,
it's a full
exactly.
moon. Like you come back to the office, you work late,
Yeah, he
and
always
you start
works late.
slashing people.
No one wants to be called into the office on a full moon. We don't ever see them again. Yeah.
I think I
So
should probably look for something else, but we have pretty good benefit outside of
that's right. I mean, the benefit's really good. He's eating some of the employees, but we get dental.
it's all in
uh,
game.
yeah, it's all right. Well,
Help,
they're
my
matching
boss
my
is a werewolf.
pension. I got a good share buyback or share employee share option plan. My shares haven't vested yet. I think I'm going to hang on for another couple of years. Hopefully, he won't eat me.
Yeah. That could be a game right there, right? Just
It could be a
skip it.
game. It absolutely could be a game.
Like, and I'm glad I found like this group because we can do like this man, this mundane game about like the film crew. We need to do that at some point as
Oh,
well, right?
I so want to do the film crew thing. I just think that sounds so awesome.
Yeah,
I think that's great. I
yeah,
wonder if we could use something like a Call of Cthulhu or something like that
yeah,
for the film crew. I think that'd be really
yeah,
that'd be interesting. Huh.
yeah. That's not you know,
Have it start really mundane and then the obstacles as it becomes more and more fantastic as it goes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Or just
Or
weird, right?
not, or just have it, or
But,
don't even have it,
you know,
just have it remain mundane.
I like the idea like so like weird stuff happening, but weird
Mhm.
stuff that could happen in real life, right? But just like
Exactly,
you
exactly.
know, one of those story like man, I'm telling you fucking that. It's
Yeah.
true story. You wouldn't
Stranger than
believe it.
fiction, right? It's the
Exactly.
whole thing, it's stranger than fiction. You're not
Yeah.
gonna believe this, but and there is an explanation for it, but,
Man, at some point,
you
like
know,
I
it
was
could be
working
aliens, I don't know, it's
when I was a lad, right? As a working a teen, right? I was working in some office, right? And I was going back home in the evening, and
Mhm,
since in Chicoutimi, so it's night pretty early, right?
mhm,
But it was I don't guess it was, I guess it was like it was probably like 8 in the evening, something like that. And it's part of town where there's nobody. It's like the industrial, like commercial part
mhm,
of town. So at night
mhm.
there's nobody. And I'm driving. I'm alone on the boulevard, and then at some point, like I have to stop because of the red light, and I'm slowing down, and like there's like an old man carrying a ladder, like that crossed the boulevard in the middle of nowhere, like followed by another old man that is whipping him with a little piece of plastic, not like something like some kind of trash, right? And they're kind of like jogging but slow, right? Like not a real jog. And I'm just there, like, and I'm still like, what the fuck would happen if I followed them? Like, it was so weird, but I was just like
Something
driving and I
going
see them
on
and just
there.
like I stop and then I'm looking at them pass, and then the light goes on and just like and I couldn't fucking start again because I was just so like, what the fuck was that about?
Just random things.
Yeah, just random
Yeah.
things like that. I just say like,
What
sometimes
is
you see
that?
those kind of thing, right?
Yeah, you do. Yeah,
And then
especially in a big city, but you see it
yeah,
everywhere.
yeah,
You're like, "What is that? It's crazy."
all kind of story like that. I'm just like,
Oh, there's just so many. I think there's so many options to for interesting scenarios that are outside of the norm. You meet in a tavern and here's the job and
yeah,
take this doohickey to that guy there. So,
yeah. And like I'm a bit like well, I mentioned like when we were talking about that, I mentioned like the Steve Zissou movie, like The Life Aquatic, like
yeah,
because I love that movie. But I also like I'm a
I've seen that one.
big fan also of the Naked Lunch movie, right?
Mhm. Mm.
And if you take it like on its premise, right? There's like okay, it's the whole thing's about like a fucking drug fueled
Sure it
nightmare.
is. Yeah, sure. It's a
But what
bad
if it
trip.
isn't, right? Just like, oh, you get this new typewriter, and then like it's kind of a living thing that can talk to you.
Yeah,
So
it's a beetle that
yeah,
the keys are on its abdomen and yeah.
yeah, yeah. I feel you do need to watch Naked Lunch.
Warehouses can get creepy.
Yeah,
Mundane
forklift
adventure.
operator
You're a
eventually.
forklift operator. That would be a great class. Like if you're going to play, even if you don't play a class-based game, I think the forklift operator is great. I love playing blue collar type
Yeah,
characters. I love them. I think they're
yeah.
great.
But all those plays like those, like they call like liminal space, right?
Yes.
Like those big things that are meant to have like a lot of human activity
Yes.
when the human activity is not there, right? When it's like
Oh yeah. A
they all have
busy
this
train station, like
yeah,
Grand Central, what is that? Times Square, but there's no one there.
yeah. Or
It's
I mean like those
suddenly
big office tower, right?
office towers
You
at
go there like
night.
super early in the morning, right? Or yeah,
There's no one there.
yeah. There's no
I
one.
like large parkades because you have the evidence of people around, but no people around. Like there's all these cars, but no one around.
Yeah,
And each car is like its own little story. Well, who's attached to that? And it's and then you have the echoing of the squealing tires that
yeah.
make it sound like there's something right around the corner, even though they may not be.
And they're all plays that we're familiar with,
Yes,
and we have some expectation with those plays. But now we see them in a different time, in a different moment, in different context,
sure.
and it's easy for now like something unfamiliar because we're so familiar with those plays, and those plays are like mundane to us. It
Mhm.
doesn't take much for something to get out of there, right? That now it become weird.
Yep.
because it become uncanny, because that shouldn't happen here, right? It shouldn't,
Mhm.
like, you know,
Mhm.
it's like you find a woman's dress on the floor of an empty warehouse at night, right?
Yeah,
Just like
it doesn't it's not there's no
there's a
easy
mystery.
explanation as to why it's there,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. So those are, I like mystery.
I like mysteries too.
I like mystery that happened, right?
Yeah, I like things that are incongruous with the rest of the location or the setting or the like what this doesn't fit. There's
Yeah,
something here that doesn't fit. Why doesn't it fit? I like to throw things into games like that without myself knowing why it's there.
that's what I was going with that as well. Exactly. Like, you know, sometimes it's just like this happened now, and we'll see where it leads us. And you know, you
Sure.
kind of let the player take the lead a bit and
Yeah.
make hypothesis. And like, yeah, they're, you know, player always like gonna speculate on many things, and one of them might be true, or maybe you're gonna come
Sure.
up with something else, right? Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you like what is Phil saying here? Do you like solving mysteries? Do you like being in a mystery as a setting or both?
I know I don't like mystery. Well, I like when there's some mystery in the setting. You know, when we're talking about like the Fervent Citadel, right?
Mhm.
There's a mystery in that setting, like baked in,
Mhm.
because we don't know what caused this, and you know, and that was something I wanted to make clear. Like, we your character, you don't know what caused this curse or disease, or you don't even know what it is, right?
Mhm.
So I like that.
Yeah.
Uh, or both, I guess, because I like haggling. Yeah.
Oh, it's gonna be good.
Yeah, but well, I like when mystery happen, and you know, and sometimes that's ju-
Mhm.
just you didn't, as a GM, you didn't plan a mystery, but it's just something throw away there, and then the player take that as a mystery and you roll with it, and now it's
Mhm.
fun, right? Just like, no,
Mhm.
now there's something that is because it's very engaging for player,
Mhm.
especially when it comes from themselves, right? They say like, wait, what's that? What's that there? And it's like,
Mhm.
"Oh, I just needed to put something there, right? I just needed something to fill the room, right?" But you don't say that. You just say like, "Oh, it's
I
just
don't
there."
know. It didn't come with an explanation.
Yeah,
That's what we're talking about.
exactly.
Something is there, it doesn't have its own explanation. You can't just hover your cursor over top of that item and get a little text box that says this item, here's the history of this item.
Mm, no, no, you need to figure it
I've
out.
played I've played some video games. Played some role-playing games where they actually have spells like that. Like you can object read and it gives
Yeah,
you the background. And we were playing this game and introduced something as a mystery. And then one of the players had selected this spell and I wasn't aware that they had this. And he's like, "Oh, this is no problem. I just go up there and I cast my spell and I automatically know everything about this object that was left." And it just destroyed
yeah,
the entire mystery of that session. And we just
yeah.
ran
Fucking
with it.
magic,
But
man.
I was like, yeah, it's unfortunate that they have a spell like that that
Well, it's
just
all like, almost like a speak with dead too, right? Just like, oh,
yeah,
there's
yeah.
a dead guy there. Oh, I'm gonna cast a speak with dead. All right, then there you go. That's a solution.
There
This
you go.
guy did it. Now go fight him.
Yeah, go find him. So you just like if you can speak with dead, from in most cases, homicides would be solved
Right.
within a few minutes. Like, here it is.
Yeah. I like what Phil says. It's mostly me just getting the continuity wrong. Like when you're
Yeah.
introducing a mystery in the setting. That's what it is oftentimes.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
you
That's
just
right.
roll with it, right? Okay. I said it, right? Don't fucking retcon. You
No.
know, we have to move forward and we build forward. And like if
Yeah.
something, and you said something that like caused some weird stuff, well, I know there's a weird stuff that maybe they can pick off, or maybe it's gonna shrug off, right? Yeah, that's
Mhm.
weird. I don't know. We have something else to worry about now. That is more urgent. Something that happened as well.
Yep.
Yeah. After solving a mystery, does the gang head down to the malt shop on their
Yeah.
bicycle? Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah. No, it's we drive to the malt shop in the mystery van, the mystery mobile.
Yeah. With the mystery machine.
Mystery Machine, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was
Yeah.
I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for you meddling kids. No, I think every memorable session has some elements of that are mysterious in the setting or
Mhm.
mysterious. Like, what is this? Or I like the reveals. Um, it was the butler all along. Not that kind of reveal. Just that, hey, there was something that wasn't. It was out of place, and I noticed it. I noticed that it was out of place, and now we can get this resolution. Maybe some things are better to never resolve, but there's some things that you can get a resolution on, and you think, oh yeah, this is there's that dopamine hit. You get that, hey, this is great. I've noticed that this was out of place, and now it is clear to me why it was there. Like the dress was on the warehouse floor because this or that or the like now it's been revealed even though we didn't know what it was when we introduced it.
That's a great topic. I want us to discuss. If you need to go, like I understand too.
I've got another 10 minutes or so and I'm
Oh, I
yawning
want
too much, but yeah.
I want to
But
talk about like player engagement, like where to get player engagement from, and because mystery, I think that's a good way to get the player engaged. But I just want to reply to that comment by Nerdy Orgor say, assuming the victim knows who killed him, yeah, like you can always like find a way, like you say, like you was
sure.
poisoned, attack from behind. There's always like way you can kind of wiggle your way out of it.
Mhm.
But at some point, those become like you can only do it like so often that it become like oh, again another guy that been killed and doesn't know like it in a mysterious way that didn't see like again like, and then you just feel like you're cheating your play. The player got the spell to speak with death, and if you always like make it that they cannot get like useful answer, it can also feel like you're cheating them. So it'd be better if the spell didn't exist, right? So it's a tricky kind of situation. You can do it once in a while,
Mhm.
but you have to use it with parsimony. Otherwise, it's like, well, I'm not gonna bother casting speaking with dead anymore because like the GM is all again gonna
Yeah,
find
if you
some reason not
if
to give me any.
everyone was killed by a sniper shot over the
Yeah,
horizon, no one's like everyone was poisoned. I mean, there's obviously ways around it, and I
yeah.
suppose in a skilled assassin would keep that in mind, but
Especially like since if they know that speak with dead is a thing, right?
sure.
They would try to work around that, I guess.
Yep.
But then it's like, yeah, that's the whole thing, right? If the spell exists in the setting in the game, it need at some point to be useful. But that small fucking try, like I'm not a big fan of magic in the player of PC because of that, right? Just like it
Mhm.
causes a lot of problem. That you can always like wiggle your way around, but you have to, yeah, it's finding this balance between like they have this magic that exists that's supposed to be useful,
I
but you
suppose what you
also have
could
to make
say is
that
that like,
useful. Hmm?
people the dead lie. You could always just make that clear in
Oh,
your session 0.
they're technically not supposed in
Yeah.
yeah, in I per D&D rules they're
For
supposed
D&D
to
rules, they should tell the truth, but
yeah,
you
they're
could
kind
always
of
just say
bound
that
by it, to say the truth.
yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah, player engagement. Like we talk about mystery, and I like mystery because that's the way to get the player engaged, right? Because
Mhm.
now people are, or at least the people like I guess the people I play with at least they tend to be curious, and
Mhm.
it's the same thing with when you watch a movie, right? You keep watching the movie because there's need to be like some intrigue, some plot. You want to know how it ends, right? Modern movie maybe not so much because like they have no story anymore, just like spectacle, and you just
Right.
want to look at the shiny light.
Yes.
You just want to see like this dude punching
Yeah.
other dude, right?
Yeah.
To stop the big blue light from beaming into the sky.
Yes. Yeah, you're right though. We're running into that. I'm running into this in my in-person game that some players are really doing very well. Like they're really in they've seized on the in character play. They're doing a fantastic job. Other times, characters are struggling to stay engaged. Players are struggling to stay engaged because they're struggling with the imagination side. And I've had some conversations with a player in particular that's having some trouble. and he admits, because the problem is that all he does is spend his time. He spends a lot of time playing video games, or something where it is just a spectacle. There's not,
Mhm.
and not all video games are like this, obviously, but the
No.
ones that he's drawn to are more of a, switch off. Just it's pretty highly scripted, or you don't have to think much. It's all just there, done for you. And now we're playing a game where you have to do some mental exercises. You have to really develop that imagination. And um, some mediums are better for encouraging imagination than others.
Mhm.
And imagination is something that can atrophy. If you don't use it, you can lose it. And
And if you
that's what
use it,
he's struggling
you're
with.
gonna develop it too, right?
And
Just like
the more you use it, and that's what
yeah.
the one of my players is just like, now I'm imagining all these things, whereas before I was kind of waiting for the GM to give me option A, B, or C.
Yeah.
Now I'm coming up with options LMNOP, like just all of these things way different.
Mm.
And where it really helps is where those options start to be created from the perspective of the character, not the player.
Mhm.
So now he's really kind of pushing that, but not all of them are. Like some players aren't, they're not there yet, and they're still struggling to just get that imagination to germinate, to start to create these very memorable things that happen in the game through their character, rather than just waiting for me to give you door door number one, or option A or B, or that there has to be, like you say, that player engagement. There has to be that inquisitive nature. If there isn't that looking for the mysteries and wondering about things, if there's no wonder at all,
Yeah.
then you're just waiting to be told a
And
story. And congratulations, you can go down to the library on Saturdays in the afternoon, and the kindly librarian will read you a story too. And you can call that a role playing game, because you're role playing just as much in that as you would in a game where you just sit back and want to be told a nice story about your character. That's just story time. It's
yeah.
anyway.
And you're shortchanging yourself so much because like role playing game, if you go, without a prep, without like a story ready and stuff like that, like they're very great at creating this intrigue of what's gonna happen next
Yeah.
because you know if you can trust that what's happening next is not planned, you're not on a railroad, right? There's no rail.
Mhm.
And it's not only like the GM that decide what's happening next, it's every player at the table that has influence on that,
Yes. Yeah.
and the dice, right?
And the
On top
dice.
of it. So you got
Mhm.
also this randomness kind of factor into it, right?
Mhm.
So it's if you can get to that level of play, it's for me it's very engaging because like I want to figure out like what's gonna happen, right?
Mhm.
Like I watched sometime like I remember like I was when a girl I was dating, right? We were watching like a Carnival Row.
Mhm.
I don't know if you ever saw that show.
It's I know the name. I can't say that
It's
I've
like an
seen it.
Amazon Prime show, I think. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Like it's anyway. She wanted to watch that, and I was like, I got a humor you. I'm not a big fan of a TV show or a movie, but sometimes you have to make compromise, I guess.
Mhm. Mhm.
And but she would get upset because I would all know like I was always know like a few episodes in advance what would happen
Mhm.
because the show was so fucking predictable
Yeah.
and so on the nose and
Mhm.
so trope-ish and so like paint by number kind of shit, right? But I've seen a lot and I've
Mhm.
studied that, right? So like I could recognize like, I get
Yeah.
this okay, this guy that just introduced this character, he's gonna do that, right? Just like at some point I should get upset at me and I said, let me enjoy it.
Yeah, that's
I'm
right.
not spoiling it. I'm not shit at show. Like making guesses, right?
Yeah.
Just like and it happened, and just like yeah, it's like it's predictable.
But that's partly well, correct me if I'm wrong, Max, but part of that is that you've studied literature and you spent all this time in it, so you can see, okay,
Yeah.
this is that sounds a lot like my daughter. She studies music, and so if you
Oh yeah.
study music a lot, it kind of in a way it can ruin music for you,
Like I
because you
cannot listen to band like ACDC, right? I fucking hate ACDC. I know that's gonna shock some people. It's not that they're bad musician or their turn or their song or butly badly put together,
Uh-huh.
but you listen to the first few bar of the first few, and you know all the whole fucking song's gonna
The whole
go.
song, yeah,
Yeah, you're
including the
just
bridge. It's all
exactly.
there.
Yeah, it's all
Yeah,
like oh, the foundation has been laid. Now it's gonna play like it's gonna follow the script, right? Just like
that's right.
I'm not gonna
That's
get
right.
surprised. I like I like bands that I like when music that you feel like the people know the rules,
Hmm.
but know to bend the rules and when to bend the
Yes.
rules and how to bend the rules. Right? That's
Yeah.
why I'm a jazz guy. I also like the Violent Femme, right? Like
Yeah.
the
Sure.
they do stuff that you say, oh, that's interesting, right? Or even if
Yeah.
you look in classical, right? There's some classical like Mozart is fun because he's playing with the music. Like he clearly know what he's doing,
Yes. Yes. You have to know the rules first to
but he also
really.
doesn't always do it, right? Just yeah,
That's true. That's very
yeah,
true.
yeah, exactly. You need to be able to play with the rules, and
Hmm.
but when it comes to role playing game, because it's this story that's like the story is what happened at the table, right?
Hmm.
And you don't know up front, and like I said, there's everybody has a contribution to make, and the
Hmm.
dice come into play as well.
Hmm.
So getting there on the edge of your seat and saying like, oh, even if you watch a movie, right, and you watch a John Wick movie,
Hmm.
already you kind of know that, especially if you watch now, right, and like there's like four of them, you kind of know that John Wick's gonna survive, right?
Yes. Exactly. Exactly.
So there's not the same kind of tension, right? Or like there's gonna be some kind of resolution. You don't have that in role playing game
No.
if you don't do the plot armor kind of stuff. So that's
No, and you
for
shouldn't do
engagement.
plot armor.
No,
That's
you shouldn't do plot armor.
you
Yeah,
shouldn't have a plot.
exactly.
So.
So that can be a great source of engagement, because what else gonna player gonna be engaged with, right? If you try to get them engaged with the story you're telling them, because you have like something like, well, you better tell them a fucking amazing story with a
Yeah.
great voice. We talk about like people talk about the Mercer effect, right? Okay, then you have to create all those characters that have all those
Mhm.
crazy develop those super voice acting thing, right, and skill, and have this story, and also have the player that can do the voice acting stuff, and then maybe you
Mhm.
can keep them engaged, right?
Right. Maybe then. Maybe.
Maybe then, right?
And
And
not for long, and you'll burn out. I
yeah,
was talking to my brother-in-law over Thanksgiving, and it's Canadian Thanksgiving. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Bring on your hate mail. And he was telling me that he felt that the ending of this long campaign they were doing was he was a little disappointed with it, and then he had a bit of burnout, and then someone else took over the game, and then they got burned out, and he's describing all of this, and like, but you still haven't figured it out. Like you're still
yeah,
not to the point where the reason why you and your rotating. Yeah, Canadian Thanksgiving is almost always on Columbus Day, almost
yeah,
always. So it, I was encouraging him. I said, why do you feel like it's your job to script out or to entertain?
yeah,
It's not your job to entertain. If you just come up with the obstacles, then role play it. Just role play it out, and they'll and riff off one another, and what happens happens, and it'll be way better, and you will have less of a tendency to burn out because you're trying to spin this amazing yarn
yeah,
that's going to last, as which is supposed to be collaborative. It's supposed to be something that's a group effort, but everyone's looking to you for all of these plot lines have to culminate at the right time, and then the proper denouement at the end, and all of this other nonsense. It's too much. It's very unlikely it'll ever live up to the expectations that you're putting on yourself. So why do that? Anyway, I'm encouraged he's still playing, but I was like, oh yeah, so you burned out. Hey, okay, yeah, I figured that you would burn out.
yeah. Because that's the thing, like, okay, if you're not doing like the engagement through like the intrigue and the edge of the seat of what's gonna happen next, which come
Mhm.
naturally when you're doing an unprepped game. Yeah, you have to go with the wow factor, the entertainment, right? And some people are gonna try to, oh, I build this battle arena, right, in cardboard and foam and shit like that, and now I'm gonna
Yeah.
bring that on the table, and the player are gonna go, oh, wow, that's so
Oh
cool, right? It's
wow.
like that's a lot of
That's
effort, and it's
it's a
only
lot of
gonna, you know,
effort. It's not, and it's not in the right. It's not placed in the right spot.
and
It's
it's
like,
not, it's
so your toys are nicer. You
yeah,
have a nicer erector set. Your
yeah,
Legos are put together nicer.
yeah,
So
and
what?
there's quickly diminishing return in that as well, right?
But I
It's
put
not
all this
viable for the
money
long
into
run.
my Dwarven Forge, da, 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 and I
Yeah,
like, you didn't need to. You didn't need to. You really didn't.
yeah. So the other way you could try to keep them engaged is if they just want the power climb, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it's just like, well, combat, and then like, where are you gonna be engaged as a GM, or is it just gonna be a chore, right?
It's a chore, because now it's the chore is, how do I keep this challenging?
Yeah,
So now I've got to, and pretty soon, oh, look, it becomes rocket tag. Okay, we got to,
yeah. And it's
and
always about like,
eventually that it's just like a fight scene in a movie that goes too long. Eventually, it's just boring.
oh, yeah, you tell me. And it's also like, now, oh, I need to bring them like new challenge all the time, because like if you don't have
Yeah,
like a reason, like, you know, we often just fight people, right, in our game,
yeah. Usually,
but it's not because like, oh, this is this type of monster that can have this ability. That's not what matter. What matters is like why we fight them.
hmm
It's not about like what they can do. It's not about what they are. It's about like why we're there. Like why that is the reason of the conflict, right?
yep,
That we're trying to resolve. But if you don't have that, if you don't have like this like kind of story being unfolded, right? You're just like,
hmm
well, we're gonna start at the fucking like start of the monster manual, and you're gonna fight some
yeah.
Arakocra.
Start with the Aboleth, and then
All
go
that.
on to the next, and then the next.
Exactly. Until
And
at
in a
some
couple
point, like when
months, we're
we,
at the Bulette, and then
yeah,
we're like, okay, so
then we went to
we're
the
getting
old
there.
book, and I'm gonna buy like this Bestiary 2. But you
Yeah.
know, that's, you know,
That's what I'm convinced, and I'm not ashamed to admit I have all the bestiaries, but the problem is that those exist because GMs get burned out, and so like, oh, we got to have something new, we got to have something new and
yeah.
shiny to show the. It's not anyway. I have them
But
all, and I
that,
shouldn't, but I have them.
that's the thing too, right? The what we propose like a solution for people. Like, people have like, you know, people have issue with the role playing game, and we propose one type of solution with the 4D style and stuff like that, right? But it's a style that rely on very little. Like, you don't need to fucking buy shit. Don't need to buy
No,
book. Don't need to buy toy and stuff like that.
no,
And you don't need to subscribe to a service like that give you like
no.
pre-made box text, right? Just no, you just
Oh,
do less.
do less.
Do
You'll get
less.
more.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and let your player lead, right? Let
hmm
like, you know, share the burden.
hmm
Like, Nerdy Ogres, if you try to create an amazing story, you almost always fail. If you try to create an engaging plot, you almost get an amazing story. And it's just like, for me, like, it's not even getting an amazing plot. Like, you need to get the ball rolling. So like I say, it's not even like you have a premise. You know, it's only like a premise, and then like the player will take charge. If you have like,
Yep.
if you have good player that are there to play a game and to role play the character have goals. They have,
They'll engage with the conflict.
yep.
They'll choose to engage with the conflict, not necessarily in the
Or
way that I envision them
yeah, or they do
doing it,
something
but
else, right? Or they, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
But yeah, just, you know, doing less, you get more.
yeah. Less is more. Less
Yeah,
is
hello,
more.
Doc.
You've got enough.
Yeah,
Hi, Doc. How you doing?
yeah.
Well, I better run. I've got to go, but and I am falling asleep. I'm sorry about that. I missed my Sunday afternoon nap, and it's catching up with me.
Oh, no, it's all right, man. I'm just like, thank you for dropping by. I just want
Oh,
to
it's
like,
my pleasure.
it's
It's
good
my
to be to
pleasure.
have something to talk about. I was just like coming here to do some update because I haven't like I haven't streamed in a while and stuff like that. So I'll just say I'm gonna go and give some updates, say what I'm working on and stuff like that, what happened to me.
Well,
And
yeah. Thanks for letting me join you. It was fun.
no,
It
I'm
was.
glad you did. It was good topic in the end, right? Just like
I think it
good,
was. It was.
yeah, good. So well, I'll see you tomorrow, Crispy.
Absolutely. I'll be so everyone that's watching now, check in tomorrow. That'll be what is that, 10 o'clock Eastern.
Oh
We're
yes, 10
gonna
o'clock
have
true.
our second game of the Horizon.
Yeah,
Check out the
With
first one
the
too if you
Horizon.
haven't already. I think it's really good. I mean, it's not perfect. That's not the intent anyway, but I think it holds its own quite well.
Yeah.
So we'll see you tomorrow. And Max, thanks for letting me drop in. I'll hit the exit here,
Yeah.
and maybe somebody else will jump in.
Yeah,
So
and
talk to you later.
go if you haven't subscribed yet, go subscribe to Tibble Runner. Obviously, he's going to comment with those
Yeah,
interviews.
come on over, and I've
Yeah.
got some plans for new content, so we'll see how it goes. Okay, I'll talk to you later. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Well, I'm probably not gonna stay too long as well, but I just wanted to pick up on something that Crispy was saying there in the end. Like, yeah, those games are not perfect, but that's also like, and he say it's not the point. That's also the thing, right? We also put those games online, and that's something that I say a lot, right? We're all there to play a game together. Something I say a lot to GM, like, don't put so much pressure on yourself. Like, you don't need to be like, because that's the thing. You're not there. You're there to play a game with your friend. You're not there to entertain them and impress them by how clever you are and stuff like that, right? So that's what we do. We put those games out, and sometimes we make mistake, and then we can talk about them, and we try to improve ourselves. But it's also showing the same a way that we can talk about game, and we can give advice and stuff like that. Some of it works, some of it might not work for you, right? And sometimes we try something and it's not great, and then we try something else and it works better. But that's why we wanted to put those games online. That we decided, you know what, we're gonna record itself and put it out there, because we talk a lot about like a theory about the game, and we also want to show that, okay, we're gonna try to walk the talk, right? So yeah, if you watch them and you like what you see, then you can try to learn something from it. Other than that, well, we like them, so we're gonna keep doing what we do. But anyway, I think I'm gonna wrap that up. I'm just thank you for people that watch that little like impromptu stream. Like I said, I just came here to say, well, I'm still alive. I'm not abandoning the channel. I'm gonna be back. I'm gonna be back tomorrow now with a game, but I wanted to do a bit of update about what I've been working on, what's coming up. If sometime, when I have a topic that I wanna discuss, I'll try to make another Tear of Your Skin, and we're probably gonna have like a tweaker at some point with Phil as well soon. So that's it. Thank you for dropping by, and subscribe and click the bell if you want to be notified when I do those random stream like that. Take care, guys. Bye.